Could we get back to our guest, please?
Of course.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry, Joe.
Into the Muck is the title of really a fascinating...
I'm really in the muck now.
Exactly. You live in the muck.
How poker changed my life. You know, Joe Turbessi. Joe, now, you must be very, very proud that this book is required reading now at the University of Massachusetts for young people, and I'll bet you that you're going to get calls from other colleges, too, because this is a big problem with young people.
Yeah, and
poker.
And gambling is still one of those hot-button issues that not a lot of people want to talk about yet. It doesn't want to be acknowledged as a part of one of the other addictions. And one of the biggest things that I say is, this book may never fly off the shelves. It may never be one of those pick up and, go to Barnes & Noble and buy. But I really feel like that senior health classes, freshman orientation groups in college, especially in senior health classes in high school, where we talk about, drugs, alcohol, sex, tobacco. We don't expect every one of those kids who walk out of there to be drug addicts, to be, addicted to any of those things. But it's the knowledge about it that really help you, handle the situations that arise. And that's all I can hope for this book is.
Well, and they say, what are the numbers that 1 in 4, 25% of college students gamble at least once a week?
At least once a week. And
at least once a week.
They are 2 to 3 times more likely than the average population to develop a gambling problem.
If you have any comments or questions or insights or experiences with gambling or addiction, because it really is an addiction across the board, whether it's to gambling or to something else, isn't it, Joe? We're going to talk about that. Feel free to give us a call. Our number is 1-888-574-2723. Now, Joe, you have not gambled in roughly a year and a half.
Yep. December 10th, 2009 was my last day ever. It actually inspired the cover of the book when I came home with $1 left. I won't actually tell the specific story. I'll save that one for the luncheon. But
Good.
It did inspire the cover of the book, and the actual dollar bill actually rests on my parents' wall that's plaqued up because my family was always, even though they didn't directly play the, I needed help and they helped me out of it, it was knowing that I always had their support and that they could potentially go down with me that really helped me pull out of it.
I'm going to say $301. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, $301.
That's it. That's all I'm saying. Yep, about the story. But now, how did you know, Joe? I mean, one of the things that I bet a lot of folks, I know I do, find fascinating in terms of addiction, whether it's alcohol or drug, certainly in this case gambling. When did you say to yourself, oh my goodness, I'm addicted?
For me, the whole book started randomly one night that I went to the casino, and I came home, and it was a one-page rant of frustration. It was just, I was upset, and I had lost, and the only thing I could think of was write. I've always kind of written, and it was just kind of my pastime. So that's all it started as, and I never intended it to be this book. But I continued writing, and then I, justified my casino trips as research. So for whatever this would be. So now it gave me another reason to go to the casino. Until finally months of losing, when I continued to tell people that I won. Another thing that happens a lot is I always won at the casino, even though I really wasn't. So it was reading what I had
Explain
read.
what you mean by that.
When I came back from the casino, people had known that I'd been gambling and going to the casino. One way that, people don't really worry about you is if you tell them you're always winning. You're supplementing your income. You have money coming in now. Now you're, it changes the way that people are looking at you, and they don't look at you in a negative way as if you do have a problem. So for me, it was reading everything that I had written and really, analyzing it and seeing where I was going. It kind of started to click until I finally, there were a few emotional rock bottoms, but there's one that I specifically talk about in the book where, I screamed at the top of my lungs until my head wanted to burst after a night of sleeping in the parking garage of the casino, at the casino at Foxwoods.
Well, and that was just one example that you share in the story, but it's the whole impact on your lifestyle in terms of the sleeping. I mean, it's amazing that you graduated from college.
Yeah.
It truly is remarkable, Joe, that you graduated. To your credit, you graduated because you spent an awful lot of time not going to class, not studying, not sleeping, not eating well.
And the unfortunate thing for that is I went to college to be an actuary, to be something that, was difficult to get into. But when poker became the forefront of everything that I wanted or thought I wanted, I didn't want to put time into anything that took away from poker. So the actuarial exams that I was supposed to take were too much studying, and the math classes that I then switched to were too difficult to just take after not going to class, that finally I actually graduated an extra semester that I was forced to take because I switched to economics, which I felt would be, based on my own knowledge, that, I got a basic degree in economics just so that I could get out of there with a degree, because poker had taken me over it that much.
Wow. Say, by the way, if any of you listening to us this morning want to talk with Joe, please feel free to call. You could say anything to him, ask him anything. 1-888-574-2723 is our telephone number. Email address, braddavis@talkofconnecticut.com.
And I know that Marvin Steinberg, who's the head, and I know him, he's the head of the Connecticut
Council on Problem Gambling.
And he's amazing. He's amazing, and he wrote the foreword of your show, of your book.
Marvin Steinberg is an unbelievable person. He's served as almost like a mentor to me, and I've even found him giving me phone calls about when there were difficult times recently that stuff was going on, related to like speeches and stuff like that. Whenever I had an issue, he was on the phone and knew the right things to say to me, which was, and one of the things I will speak volumes about is the Connecticut Council on Problem Gambling. For me, the writing was my release, and it was the way I overcame the addiction kind of thing. But I don't recommend the way that I chose, the route that I chose. And, after I had gotten through the book, I was able to see the different agencies that are out there, including the Connecticut Council on Problem Gambling, which they do have they have a helpline, and their problemgambling.org is their website, where they do feature a live chat now that, people can anonymously chat about issues that they're having.
And he has been doing this. He's been behind this organization in Connecticut for, close to 40 years at this point. He's amazing.